Thank you for completing the online umpire course, Sparring and Pattern. And after these 2 sessions, I have received a couple of questions just to clarify a few things and also something that I might have missed during the online training. Here are the questions.
What is the correct hand signal to restart the match, upwards or downwards?
As a center referee, after you issue a warning or a foul and restart the match, the hand signal should be going up and the command should be "계속." On the other hand, as you start the match, your arm should come down and the command is "시작."
Are spinning back fist, hook punch, and uppercut allowed in free sparring?
In the official tournament rules, we do not indicate any hand techniques that is prohibited for competition. Rather, we define the level of contact for any execute techniques. You could spin, otherwise you cannot do reverse turning kick, and you can also do a back fist. Also, we do not call our techniques uppercut, hook punch, or spinning back fist, and there are more similar to a hook punch like angle punch, turning punch, or upset punch. Regardless of the variation of techniques, it must be conducted with control and fulfill the light contact requirement. By light contact, it means it's interpersonal contact during the sparring competition, whether intention or not. It is executed with care, controls sportsmanlike behavior, and attempt to control and retract the attacking tools, and does not result in excessive displacement of the opponent's body, head or torso. On the other hand, any uncontrolled techniques, which is administered with emotion, aggression, malintent, and or loss of control, any techniques that is excessive without attempt to control or retract the attacking tools that might causes the opponent's body or head and torso to be displayed more than acceptable for the situation, considered as in control techniques. An easy way to tell is you are relying on hitting the target to maintain your balance. If you cannot maintain your balance, that would be considered as a in control techniques.
When arms are sticking close to the body, will they be considered as scoring area once hit?
According to the guide in the legal target area from shoulder to the hand, therefore that cover your arms, are considered as non-scoring area. So whether it is sticking towards your body or actively doing a block, it does not matter, and it's not a scoring area regardless. You should not get a score nor warning from getting hit.
Holding and grabbing is a foul. What happens if 2 competitors hold each other at the same time?
In our ITF, holding and grabbling are considered as foul, -1 point. That is not limited to holding legs, but also consider holding onto your opponent with arms. In the case where both competitors are holding against each other, the decision of issuing such foul is to seek the side that is initiate the hold first.
Can a competitor be drinking between the one pattern and the another?
No, absolutely not.
What is the penalty for a competitor who made contact with her coach or anyone in between patterns?
No, there won't be a penalty, but they will have to be warned by the jury member to observe the courtesy to the other person performing, because when you are brought onto the mat, you are under the match conditions. There can be no communication and it is very distracting to the other performer. It then goes into the ethics of Taekwondo and they supersede any performance rules. So the athletes and the coaches must subscribe to the etiquette of the match.
How can we discount the lack of balance and power?
That is the umpire decision. If they think the execution lacked of power, then they will give the deduction of lack of power, because every single movement must be dynamic and precise. However, for certain movement, you would see, for instance, in Wan-Yo, first, second, and the third movement are all done in the normal motion, i.e. that will be done with maximum power, until the Sogi bending stance that follows by their seventh movement that should hold the same snap to the guarding block as if they were into a arrow stance, because this is effectively a guarding block on one leg. The umpire will see a very sharp movement followed by the very soft guarding block as they are prepared for the Sogi. Then it is a time to deduct power, because they reserve the balance by sacrificing the power.
You got first step, middle 4/5 measure punch, performed in slow motion.
In Yugok, the first and the fourth step are a measuring movement in natural motion. Therefore, they are not a slow motion and should not be applying a slow motion breath control.
In Kwangge, the second step, do I snap finish for the upset punch in slow motion?
And second step in Kwangge are walking stance upset punch in the slow motion. When we do the slow motion, it should be slow motion all the way from start to finish. So there should not be any speed up or snapping motion or the change of breath control towards the end of the techniques.
In Juji, do I speed up the reverse hooking kick towards the end?
In Juji, the 5th and the 17th movement, Nopunde Bando Doryo Goro Jagi. High reverse hooking kick is a slow motion. Again, it should respect the motion being slow with all the way from start to finish without any snapping motion or breath control towards the end.
How many times may I discount 0.2 in each movement? For example, if I execute a movement without power, without exhalation, and using incorrect attacking or defending tools, should I discount a total 0.6?
This is a very good question. In the incident of Juji, when we were doing the Twin-Mill Bando Doryo Chagi, this is a very complex move. As a jury president, it is unlikely that you will see only one deduction point, 0.2, for these techniques. When performing the Twin-Mill Bando Doryo Chagi, it is a very technically demanding move. It is directed to D while dodging, which means it must be in the air, executed with the leg straight towards the direction D. According to the technical direction, dodging means you are moving back one full L stance, so if the kick arrives at AD or DD, then you would deduct 1 point, 0.2. If the leg is bent at D, it could be an inaccurate execution, minus 0.2. And if you don't jump back in the correct distance, it could add the incorrect stepping, 0.2. Some execute the kick whilst landing on the floor, and you would then add the incorrect techniques, 0.2. To add the cherry on top, if they were to wobble as they landed and lose balance. For the one particular techniques, it is an absolutely minefield for mistakes. So the answer is yes. You can have multiple deduction per techniques.
Can you explain the differences between jumping and flying techniques?
In the pattern, we have jumping, twiggy, and flying, twin mill, for distances. And we also have flying techniques too. Going back to the Juji example, you will read the terminology twin mill is flying techniques. We just can't say kicks because it's basically when you're doing the techniques in the air. It is written in the text. It is always followed by a prefix of twinmil, and it could be twinmil yopchagi, or could be in juji twinmil sambang chagi or twinmil upchagi. When it is twiki jumping, there will always be referencing a stance because you jump and form a stance. For example, in yugok, you jumped and form an X stance. In the case of Taege, you jump from an L stance and form an X stance. So jumping twigi will always be superseded by an associated stance.
Can I deduct a point for an inaccurate ready position?
Keep in mind this example is about the starting position in Wanyo, but it applies to all the patterns. The umpire should review every section in the pattern where potential deductions or multiple deductions could be made. Observe the Junbi position for close ready stance A, since you cannot score on the Junbi position yet. Remember, all the scoring should be done in between Sicha and Baro, but it is a technical element to the close ready stance. On the command Sicha, you can then issue the deduction 0.2 on the Junbi position that was technically incorrect. For example, maybe the hands position was correct but the feet were not. Remember, this is not the wrong Junbi, which is a 0, but technically inaccurate. Then you may deduct 0.2.
Can you repeat what the 0-point conditions are in pattern competition?
The first one is the easy one. It is when the athletes had a complete memory blank and they pause the pattern or stop the pattern completely, and they pause for more than 2 full seconds, and the 2 seconds is a very long time. Number 2, failing to perform the designated pattern request or performing a pattern within the grade of the competitor. Number 3, starting the pattern in the wrong direction, whether it is to the side, to the front, or to the rear. Number 4, starting the pattern with a different ready position than the specified by the technical direction of the pattern. Number 5, adding or omitting any movement of changing any sequence of movement that is not prescribed by the technical direction of the pattern. They will receive 0 point. This allowance is that they are allowed to have one isolated mistake for an incorrect movement, but they cannot have 2. For example, in Dangun, 2 or more rising block in the sequence rather than punches, then they did rising block instead of punch. Mixing pattern will also be a 0. Any catastrophic failure like this will get a 0. Another example in Dozan, obverse punch, reverse punch, and if you do reverse then obverse punch, that will be a 0. We believe it is not too much to ask for the athletes that all the movements they perform are in the correct sequence and in the correct number. So the minimal level of the assessment of their performance should be that they have performed all movement in the right sequence using the prescribed step. Number 6, failing to complete the prescribed sequence and direction of steps that complete the pattern diagram, they must follow the steps as it is written. However, we also have a technical deduction 0.2 for incorrect stepping. Isn't this not the same as omitting steps from the diagram? Now, we can't go over every single scenario, but this is an example in Dozan. We've got a spot turning going into the third movement. This is where you have variation because you are moving the left foot into the center. But if you move the left foot not enough or move the left foot far towards the rear foot, this would not be a deviation of the diagram, but it would be an incorrect step. 0.2, because you are turning the same way, but you have made a bad move. In a similar case in Dosan again, at move number 23, left hand strike, and it is supposed to be foot to foot. You make a step with shoulder width only, then make the last strike. This would be an incorrect step because you have not changed the diagram. You still make the step, but you have made an incorrect step. Hence, it's a variation of the diagram, minus 0.2. As an umpire, you need to know the diagram and the stepping, and these are important decisions that you must make, or it would be unfair to the other athletes if they've done it correctly. On the other hand, if the athlete has made a deviation from the diagram by the way of changing the order, the number, direction of steps, and or omitting or adding a step for the entire performance, they would be given a 0. If you think of these as variation, it merits a techniques deduction of 0.2. But if it's a deviation, it is a 0 point. I have a video here for some example. And you can imagine that one of the coaches was going, relief they got the result. And the other coach is going nuts because their competitor lost to somebody who did this, and it is not fair. So the basic minimum that we can ask for a pattern competitor is that they perform the pattern correctly with all the movement in the right order, with all the right steps. If anything falls out with that, and it is a deviation and should be given a 0. For jury president perspective, since all these scores are visible, you have to try keeping the score balanced as much as possible. Any extreme of scoring needs to be addressed immediately. It could be extreme where they score too little, or extreme where they score too much. Jury president can question the umpire team by saying, "Your scores are not in line with the rest, and you have to remove them."
What happens if the jury president spotted 0 points in pattern, but none of the umpires saw it?
If a 0 point is seen by jury president, but none of the umpire, the outcome from this is a wrong umpire decision, and that could affect the incorrect athletes going forward. Scenario by asking what was seen. Didn't anyone see the 0 point situation because there was one? If you feel that you did see something but didn't think it was 0, please consider that with your score now. Ideally, there should be the jury president with one additional umpire watching the performance to help with the 0 point situation. A possible response from the umpire from these could be, "Well, yes, I did see that, but didn't consider it as a 0 infraction." They could then be informed that it was a 0 point situation, and through their own validation, adjust their scores. And finally, contact the umpire committee before releasing the score.
What happens if any of the team member is absent for the team pattern?
According to the tournament rules in team pattern, you do need 5 members in order to participate the team pattern events. In the case of international tournament like World Cup or World Championship, you do require the 6th member as spare for this event.
Any points deduction if there is 0 choreography design in a team pattern performance?
In the team pattern event, the scoring system is almost exactly the same as individual pattern, except there are 6 points for all the technical aspects of the pattern and 4 points for the choreography and teamwork. If you were to have 0 teamwork or choreography design, you will not be able to get any point from these 4 points.
Where can we access these umpire training videos and reference tables?
This presentation will be available as a video for educational purposes, and it is recommended to view it on your laptop so you can stop at any time to observe the text and also to rewatch the videos that are embedded in this presentation. And this will conclude the Q&A session for both pattern and sparring. I hope that I have addressed to every one of the questions. If you have further questions, please leave me a comment in the comment section and I shall address to them as soon as possible. Thank you.